Moving right along, we have team number 3. This is the Bomb Soap Company. From Olympia, Washington, a UW-Tacoma connection, and also veteran status with the U.S. Army. Welcome, the Bomb Soap Company.
Judges, I'm doing something a little bit different here. If I could get you guys, when you have a moment, to come up here and actually try my soap, it'll make a lot more sense as I talk to you about it, because my soap is very different from other people's soap. Real quick, just get maybe one or two of you to come up here that are already feeling bold enough to try it. You will definitely be able to tell the difference between my soap and someone else's soap. I'm ceding my time to talk about myself for you guys to try my soap here. Just take any one of these. I bet you're not going to dry yourself off. I'll wet your hands, and you can start using it. And you'll get this right over the bowl. That oil is actually the super fats that are going to help moisturize your skin after you use it. Yeah. Let me rinse you off there. Yeah, it feels a little bit oily, but that is actually oil that's going back on. So if you dry your hands, you'll see the oily feeling goes away, but the moist feeling does not. I have more towels up here. There you go. And whichever one you want. These are mostly without scent. There we go, sir. And this soap is actually about 8 months old already. This is an older batch. All right. Here, would you like some paper towels, sir? Good, sure. Ma'am. If I can rip it the way I would like. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
I'll have a better system when it's set up in a farmer's market.
You're good, man. Thanks.
There you go. All right. No worries. I'll clean this up as we go along. You know what? I'm not going to bother to do the slideshows. It's going to take even more time than what I already gave up. So, my name is Antonio Solorio. This is the Bomb Soap Company because my soap is the bomb. I'm sure you felt it as soon as you started using it. I use a method called super fatting. This is cold pressed soap that's been super fatted. All that means is I added extra oil. So when you wash with my soap, you actually wind up with more moisture than you started with. I started this in about 2018, then the pandemic hit. So rather than taking my business and going to the farmer's market, I went home, took care of my family and kids, started giving soap to my family, to my friends. When I got blown up in 2007, I was, it's like Forrest Gump says, I got that $1 million wound, right? I got to go home, got to retire early, but, you know, minus a leg, couple other parts. But the important thing is I kept on going. I wanted to try and do stuff, get out and do things, but when I would go out snowboarding, hiking, all these things, suddenly my stump started having problems. I would have infections, irritated follicles, and when I would use what was supposed to be good for your soap, or good for your skin soap like Dove, that sort of thing, it was actually still leaving a residue on my skin. I tried a bunch of really expensive soaps. I started going to like fancy soap places like Lush, and you wind up with a bunch of scent on your skin or glitter and all this stuff, and that's things I didn't need on my stump. So finally, my wife, who's tired of me complaining, sends me to, we're gonna do a couples thing and learn how to make soap there at the Fob Brewery. And after it was all done, I was like, man, this is really fun. So I go to the library, pull out a couple books, start playing around with recipes, and I found something that worked really well for me. And you know, I started testing them out on my family and friends, and my brother who has eczema was like, God, this is great for my eczema. It helps really well, but I wish you could do something more. And I saw a couple recipes that had some oatmeal, so I started messing around with that. I came up with a formulation for eczema that works great, stops his flare-ups. And then I have a fellow amputee who has some problems with psoriasis. I came up with another formula for that. So over these couple of years, I've come up with about 5 or 6 different formulas that are specifically for sensitive skin. Really, that's what I'm targeting here. I'm not targeting people who want to smell good or look like glitter or be a unicorn. I'm here for people whose skin feels dry after you wash your hands. When you squeeze your hand, you feel that tightness. Your skin's cracking because you're a cook and you're having to wash your hands 3-4 times a day. That's who this is for. My wife worked in a dining facility her entire military career, 14 years, and then she did another 12 at JBLM working in the hospital, and her hands would crack at the end of the day because she used so much soap. What I find out is it's actually not soap, it's detergent. The FDA changed the regulation a while back so you can classify soap as a detergent. So 99% of the soap you get in a store is detergent, and that is what's making your hands tight and that residue feeling you have after you get out of the shower. This is soap made from lye, the same way it's been made for thousands of years. I balance the right oils with the lye, and that's why you get that nice, silky feeling on your skin. And it's worth it. To me, I get to walk. That's what it is to me. That's the problem I'm solving. When I used old soap, it would dry out my stump, cause irritation, cause skin breakdown, and suddenly I can't walk. And let me tell you, walking, it's one of the most addictive things in the world. Feels great, you'll love it. It's awesome. And I needed soap that was gonna let me keep snowboarding, keep hiking, keep running after my kids. I refereed soccer. I was an AYSO referee. It was great. But I needed something that let me keep going, and that's why I had to come up with this soap. Now, when I did this, this competition, I had to kind of let this fall by the wayside. I'd been giving this to friends and family for years. They've been my test subjects. This is the soap I had left over. When I had that booth out, I had people trying to buy my soap from me. So I don't have the market research to tell you what my growth is going to be in a year, because I've never gone to a farmer's market and sold it. But when I was right here in a place where I'm not even supposed to be selling it, people were trying to give me money to take my soap. So I know there's a market for it, because there's so many people with sensitive skin. They don't want to say it because, maybe they look like Carson. But guess what? Carson has sensitive fifis. He's got nice little toes that he doesn't want to get messed up. It doesn't matter if you're special forces. You can be the biggest IED ninja out there taking out whoever you want. At the end of the day, you want to feel nice. You want to take a shower and not feel like you're still dirty because you have a film on you. And that's what my soap gives you. I make soap with oatmeal in it for people with really irritated skin. I got a recipe that has coffee grounds in it, so it exfoliates your skin and wakes you up in the morning. I make recipes for all kinds of skin conditions, and that's the important part, is that I'm helping people relieve their skin. When I was at the demonstration, there was somebody said, I can't use your soap because you have coconut oil in it. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a recipe for you. Don't worry about it. I'll find a way around that, because you deserve to feel good. You deserve for your skin not to hurt because you're trying to keep clean. It drives me crazy during this pandemic when those people who are like, I'm not gonna wash my hands because my skin's already dry and it hurts. It's like the whole point is to be clean, not to worry about whether or not your skin's gonna break apart because it's so harsh. And so if you look at my projections on cost, the actual cost of the soap isn't that much. It's mainly the process and the recipe and the time it takes. I have a lead time of 45 days. Whether I'm casting 1 pound or 100 pounds, it is 45 days for that to saponify. Any earlier than that, you risk burning your skin. So there is a level to making this where I'm working with toxic chemicals, which I'm sure is why a lot of people switch to other processes that are less volatile, but don't get the same results. These results speak for themselves. That's why it was great for you guys to try it, because you can really feel the difference between my soap and a bar of Dove or Irish Spring. This soap gets you clean and makes you feel better. You can wash your hands all day with this soap, and you'll feel fine. And like I said, I've tried tested it on my fellow amputees, burn victims, and other adventurers who I've met along the way, and I haven't had a problem with it yet. Everybody loves it. And all I've heard back from people is, your soap's a bomb. It's the best soap I've ever had. And so that's really my selling point, is the soap itself. My entry will be through farmers markets and local grocers. I'm not trying to get into a Winco, but I'm trying to get into like Jay's here in Tacoma. There's a farm stand out in Olympia. Those are the sort of places, those are the sort of people the customers who are gonna want my soap really. Somebody who wants something all natural. My list of ingredients, easy to read. Coconut oil, soybean oil, right? Beeswax. I can break them down and probably save you more cost if I went straight to the chemicals, but you're gonna lose that whole molecule chain that gives you that feeling, right? It's not about profits, it's about helping people. I need people to wash their hands, to be clean. Because guess what? You're coughing on me, you're getting me sick, so I need us all to be clean. And that's what it's all about. If I can leverage my way into that, and also a direct sales model, I'd like to set up a subscription type model, renewing revenue. If you're For a bar of soap like this in my house with my teenagers, to tell you the truth, it lasts about 2 months. It should last a month, but they're teenagers. So for $4 for a month worth of soap, you know, and I sell the bigger bars, I'll sell those for easily $8 or $9. I've been selling them directly to people at my wife's work, fellow people who work in the dining facility whose hands are cracked and dry all the time, and a couple of my other fellow veterans who I met in CFI where I was getting rehab. So there's definitely a market for it. Unfortunately, I chose to come to school, take care of kids, and stop the business model in 2018, but thanks to Thomas pushing me back into this, I realized how much fun this is. This is the most fun I've had since somebody tried to shoot at me. It's been great. It feels fun. This is exciting, you know, and it's a good time. I love solving a problem. It's what I do. When I was in the Army, I was a mechanic and then an EOD tech, and it was all just problem solving. And now I'm in school to be a computer science major. It's all problem solving. I love problems. I like finding a way to fix those problems, and that's what this soap is. People who have the problem of not being able to find soap or products that take care of them, that are permanently in fear of washing and using a soap because it's just going to aggravate their psoriasis or their eczema or just their plain sensitive skin. You know, it's okay for Carson to have sensitive skin. We don't judge him. It's okay. We can all smell good. We can all feel good.
And now I'm sure our judges have some questions for you.
Yeah, I got a couple. Oh,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Quick question.
Thank
First of all, I would like to thank you for your service and coming up with this wonderful idea of creating this soap. Sounds like the bomb. Have you started to sell any of your products yet?
I've sold individually to, like I said, my wife has some coworkers who, once I started giving it to her, and I gave it to a couple of her friends, they started buying it for me as well. So there's about 6 people, and that's really what I've been making it and continue making it for, that and family. I've been giving it away to family. I'm a Mexican, so it's a pretty big family, so I got to send it to Theas, I got to send it to some of my cousins. I got a couple cousins who are in the military, and I tell them, I was like, you know, doesn't matter how hardcore you are, when you come out of the field, you take that first hot shower, use my soap, and you come out feeling better. Feel like a real human being again, because after you go a couple weeks without a shower, you don't feel human anymore.
Sounds fantastic. Do you have any analysis put together so far to determine what the price points would be for your soap and compared to other soaps that's on the market that's very similar to what you're making?
Well, I don't get to see behind their curtain to what their costs are, and I know my material costs are very low, and actually the labor costs are not nearly as bad as you would think. In order for me to make a batch of soap from beginning to end is about an hour and a half worth of time, and that's whether I'm making a pound of soap or 20 pounds of soap. It's also like the difference in actual volume isn't that much. The real problem is when I dry it. I have to give it 45 days to set and breathe. They can't be crowded on each other, and it's, you know, just keeping a visual eye on it, make sure it's okay. But the actual, because they use a hot process, their soap is immediately ready to be sold, and mine is not. So that's where the big difference in our cost is going to be, is that my soap has to sit for 45 days, whereas they're going to run theirs through an oven, superheat it, it's a hot process. It changes the quality of the soap, but you get your soap out the door faster. For me, that bit of time, the bit of cost it's going to incur that it has to wait that time is going to be worth it, because the end product is much, much superior. And my idea in a farmer's market would be something similar to this, a wash station for people to actually try the soap and feel it. Because as soon as you feel it, you can feel it. You can feel this is different. And that's really the biggest selling point of this soap, which is that technique. That 45 days is integral to that piece of letting it actually saponify in the old method of making soap.
So you do have some plan at some point to have this business model into an actual business, because I'm just having a hard time understanding whether or not you want to take this to the next level without knowing what your cost is going to be to get started and what your
Right.
revenue is going to be at the end, whether you're going to make profit or not.
I have a fairly good idea of how that's going to go just based on what I've done. It's, every time I make a batch of soap, it's sold out to my wife's friends immediately. But the problem's been I've been not willing to invest the amount in order to scale up. So right now I'm using a 4-quart pot to do my oil in. I need an 8-quart.
Yeah.
My mixing bowl is only like 6 quarts. I need 15. It's all that scaling up so that, because for the same amount of time that I'm doing 1 pound of soap, I could be doing 12. Instead of me getting 6 bars at a time, I could be getting 24 bars at a time. So at the end of that 45 days, I have a bigger stock. I'm gonna be at Thriftapalooza. I'm gonna be one of those soap sellers at Thriftapalooza. So whether you guys pass me or not, this business is going on. It is going up, and you'll see me. I'll be there. It's the bomb. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You'll be like, I was there. I was there from the beginning. And that's okay. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I got a couple quick questions for you. If anybody who's been to a farmer's market or a night market, seen 3 or 4 stands of, people selling soap. So my question, with that, yes, there is a market for it, and sometimes I feel like sometimes that market might be a little saturated. So, like, with your price point that you're selling your bars at now, about, you said $8 to $9 for a
Right.
bigger bar, do you have a plan to possibly decrease that retail price? And my second question is, takes you 45 days to produce. What's the shelf life on those bars?
Now, the shelf life, because I'm over-fatting, there is a shelf life to this soap. I've never actually been able to keep soap long enough to see the long-distance shelf life, because I always wind up with somebody taking my last bar, wanting to use it. These were supposed to be so that I could see how long it lasts. That's actually what's recommended. You take a batch and don't use it and see how long it lasts. These are already about almost 8 months old, and they still work great. So I'm thinking maybe a year or 2. I don't know. I've never taken it that far because it's so good. People keep taking it from me before it can reach its expiration date. But it is super fatted, so there is more fats than lye, so it does have an expiration date. I just don't know what it is yet. That would definitely. I have a batch growing right now, and I have one specific little block that I am pulling aside, and we're going to see how long it takes, for sure. And then the other piece is I can scale this up, and that is my plan. Right now, I'm doing this out of my garage, and I'm doing it out of a small space of my garage. I will be taking over more of my garage. I'm going to be buying more shelves. I need to get to about, I believe, a good place for me to go to a farmer's market is with 100 pounds of stock. That way, of the various different recipes. So the 100 pounds split between about 5 different recipes and a couple different methods. So some will be in the loofah, as you saw there. My man Thomas here came up with the great inspiration of I will start making grenades with a rope around it. So soap grenade, rope around it, soap on a rope. It's the bomb. It'll be great. I'll make probably a couple other ones, maybe like a big ball. All of this is all in molds. I have a 3D printer, so I'm trying to make my own 3D print mold. This symbol right here is the symbol that's going to be stamped on every bar of my soap. This is the EOD badge. I was a bomb tech in the Army for a while. It's called the Crab. It's super cool. Everybody wishes they had it. The Special Forces guys wish they thought of it. But that'll be on all my bars of soap, because that's what brought this. If I hadn't been blown up, if this guy hadn't blown me up, I would have never learned that. I really like this. It's super fun. I know it's really weird, but it's fun playing with different oils to get different results. That's a reason why there's a reason why each oil is in. There's a reason why there's beeswax. I've tried them all. I get the balance. I get the ratio. And it works. It works really well. I've expanded into shampoos. I'm working on shave bars. It's all using the old method. Oops, sorry, that's my time. That's my time. But thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been great.